38% support compared to Trump's 44%. A big 12% say they're undecided. Joining us now to discuss, Republican strategist Rina Shah, along with Democratic strategist Paul Begala, who's also a CNN political commentator. Any reason to panic here, Paul? I mean, these numbers are pretty bad, and you also have questions about how he's perceived in terms of his sharpness by the American people.
Yeah, I went through this poll in detail, and it's like that story. There's got to be a pony in here. Mm-hmm. There is not. There's no good news. And I'm a supporter of Biden, but there's no good news for Team Biden in this poll. The only good news is in the calendar, right, where we're 546 days out. And I went back and looked. In April, this is May, but in April, the year before his reelection, Bill Clinton was down to 29. He coasted to reelection, won 33 states, won by 9 points, but something happened. Well, two huge things happened. The Oklahoma City terrorist bombing, which was absolutely tragic, and voters thought Clinton handled it very well. And then at the end of that year, the Republicans shut down the government. Now, this is a hope, not a strategy. Biden at least has this default fight coming. Mm-hmm. And my counsel to him would be, put all your chips into that. Because you can start to turn around these questions, I think, even of are you too old, are you too sharp, by fighting. I think they need to retire avuncular Uncle Joe and hire Smokin' Joe Frazier from Philly. Mm-hmm. He needs to fight.
What do you think? Is this an outlier, or do you think Donald Trump really could be reelected?
I don't believe that Trump can be reelected, but I think that's a whole separate conversation. I think this is really problematic for a Biden world because the one thing I think they did wrong was to come out with an reelection announcement video. Come on now, put Joe out there. Let him be forceful. Let him fight. But they didn't. They said this video's enough. And a lot of politics right now is about a feeling, right? Mm-hmm. Is he too old? Of course ageism is baked in here. We'd be lying if we said it weren't. And so the reality is you're having a growing GOP field, and then you've got party of one over here. And I don't think the faith even of his own party is there that he could see a better day. So I don't see much good news happening for the Democrats, even if Joe is able to really force the hands of the Republicans on this debt ceiling fight.
Yeah. Well, in terms of the ageism, nearly 2/3 of those polled, this is voting age Americans, 2/3 say they do not think that President Biden has the mental sharpness to serve as president. Donald Trump's only a few years younger than Joe Biden, and 54% say he is sharp enough. So it's not just ageism. I mean, Biden likes to say, watch me. Right. And people say, can you do this? Watch me. People are watching him. They don't think he's sharp enough.
Rina makes a good point, but they need to put him out more. I think she's right. When you saw him, and I did, at the State of the Union, he was so sharp, he baited the Republicans into a trap on Social Security extemporaneously. It's actually a really hard speech to do. And he baited them into a trap, and without script, pulled the snare on Social Security, Democrats' best issue.
But after that, Paul, he's not been very loud. And he's not been forceful in what he genuinely believes. Right, and when he takes this fight to the Republicans in the House and saying debt ceiling stuff here, he's a moderate. He's not a real fighter where he's going to be able to push their hand. But I think we got to go to the crux of the matter here. It's Gen Z who put Joe Biden in the White House. Right. What is Gen Z going to do? And they're saying, we can't believe it. We can't believe we're about to have a Biden-Trump rematch. So they don't want to reward the Democrats again. They wanted somebody else. And the Democrats are saying, just sit down and wait your turn. That is not a good playbook for the 2024 primary.
So speaking of we want somebody else, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, he's been struggling with how to deal with Donald Trump, and he's been struggling even before he became a presidential candidate. ABC News got some footage from his first gubernatorial bid, his debate prep, 2018. DeSantis struggling with the issue of likability. Take a look.
I think when you walk up there, you have a pad, you have to write in all caps at the top of the pad, likable. And then look, I do the same thing because I have the same personality. We're both aggressive.
Is there any issue upon which you disagree with President Trump?
Obviously there is, because I voted contrary to him in the I have to frame it in a way that's not going to piss off all his voters.
It's actually not bad advice if people don't think you're likable enough to remind yourself to be likable on the top of the pad. But what do you think of this all?
Yeah, at the top of my pad, I wrote handsomer. It didn't work. I'm still ugly. DeSantis, I've been a DeSantis dissenter, as you know, from the beginning, because for that very reason. He's just not likable. He doesn't have the performance skills of a Trump. I don't support Trump, but golly, can he perform. Donald Trump spent more time in the business end of a camera than any politician since Reagan. He knows what to do. He knows how to perform. And DeSantis, he dances like a guy who learned how in Arthur Murray's. It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. He's a klutz and a clod, and he's not at all likable, and he's going nowhere.
What do you think?
I think this video is fantastic. Why not? It actually you see him pushing back on Matt Gaetz, who was trying to prep him and get him ready. It makes it look like he cares. And that, I think, is something there. You know, look, people can say all they want that how embarrassing is this leaked video. I think it shows a human that wants to fight. And likable or not, Ron DeSantis is a guy that at least has the strength to take on Trump. The charisma, maybe not, but the strength, the endurance, the values are even far right of Trump. But at the end of the day, what are people looking for? They're looking for Trump light, and they're going to get that with Ron DeSantis. So Trump world can try to embarrass him all they want. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint to this primary.
I did think it was funny that Congressman Gaetz, who is now firmly in the camp of Trump, retweeted that ABC News video saying how outraged he was. So outraged that somebody would leak this video. It's so offensive. Here is the embedded link to the video. Come on, man. Anyway, Rina, Paul, thanks so much. Appreciate it.